When you're looking to maximize your success and outcomes, should you focus on being more intense or more consistent? Which strategy wins? Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Yellow Chair Podcast with X, where we deep dive into the stories that drive our lives. All right, consistency versus intensity. Which one should we focus on? Which one is the winning strategy? Which one produces better outcomes in business and life and love and all the things that matter to us? Well, I'm going to give you a cop-out answer and say both. But you have to understand where intensity fits in and where consistency fits in, and there's a ratio to both. But let me go into my backyard and talk about my problem. You see, I have an intensity issue. I'm one of those guys who is always trying to figure out how to do something to the utmost, going all in. And as a result, what I've found, and this is still to present day, is that my intensity gives way to a lot of letdowns, a lot of failure, a lot of projects that have been started and very few that have been finished. Because intensity as a way or a strategy to govern your life is not something that you can hold 24/7, 365. It's just not. But the question comes to me, or has come to me over years, is why do I insist on being this intense guy when I know where it lands me? And what I found is that I would be intense out of insecurity, flat out of insecurity. I remember when my daughter, my youngest, was born. She was born in 2012, Valentine's Day. And I told myself, okay, new daughter being born. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a new program called 60 Days to Live. Right? Every day I'm going to wake up, I'm going to record a 30-minute audio and then write a workbook to go along with that audio. I'm going to distribute it live to my audience. And then I'm going to also do the same program in a prison where I'm working while I have a newborn who just was born, all of that at the same time for 60 straight days. I was on a high, like, oh, yes, I got a mission. I got this ring I'm about to step into where the only way to show up is to show up intensely. So that's what I did. I came out the box swinging, y'all. Every day I would get up at 4 a.m. I would go into the closet, record my 60 Days to Live, package it, post it, get it to some clients, then run over to the jail, do my program, go back to my daughter, like staying up all night, living on 3 hours of sleep, caffeine, the whole nine. I was in it to win it. And after 60 straight days, the program was complete. And I was able to raise my hand in victory, right? I went in, I was intense. I felt good about what I had done. But then what happens after you've given your all, you've blown your wad? Comes the crash. You start to look at things a little bit differently, right? Like, wait a minute, 60 straight days, all in. What did I actually do? How many people did I actually reach? How many lives did I actually change? What am I going to do with this? All the questions come raging in when I'm off of this emotional high, and all I have is doubt. All I fear is fear, like it was for nothing. I haven't moved myself or anyone else for that matter forward. And I fall right into a pit, blaming myself, shaming myself, not feeling like I've lived up to. And invariably, the same pattern applies itself over and over again in my life. I fall into that pit, questioning myself, knowing I didn't measure up, that I should have given more. And then I create a whole new master plan to be intense, a whole new way to prove myself, a whole new battle, a whole new ring to step into. And I plan and I ponder and I put together another scheme to be intense in. And the pattern I found over the years repeats itself. There's just enough success and just enough outcome. For example, the 60 Days to Live, I transformed some people's lives. I worked in a prison. I got letters from guys in prison who said, I've changed their lives, who haven't been back. Like, it did something, but it didn't move my sense of self forward. It didn't materialize the way I wanted it to. And it wasn't until I looked in the mirror and I started to see this pattern of intensity being the place that I stayed that I found my deepest insecurities. You see, heroics often turns on you because it's the only way you can feel worthy, right? If I go intensely out and I do everything imaginable, then that makes me worthy because look at me, I'm doing all of this stuff. But it masks insecurity because intensity, especially when you're juggling every ball imaginable and running 1,000 miles an hour, is an admission that you don't know where to actually apply yourself. Just think about that. If your modus operandi, where you go to, is strictly to go whoom, rrr, rrr, like you're throwing haymakers when you're in the ring, that is a sure sign that you are a novice. You don't know what actually works, so you're doing everything at 100 miles an hour. All you have is an on and off switch. And I was masking my own insecurities, not really knowing what should I actually be focusing on and what actually matters the most, instead of trying to do everything with this intensity. And I started to really think, well, I'm a smart guy. At least I think I am. Why do I insist on doing it this way? Because it comes back to my own insecurities and fears. Because if I'm not going all out, if I don't feel the burn, then I'm not worthy. And when it doesn't work, which I expect it to not really work subconsciously, then I can always point to the fact that I didn't work hard enough. So I gotta go intense. I gotta go with that all in or nothing mentality. Self-sabotaging myself because that intensity can't be maintained. So ultimately I come falling down, I crash. And there's so many of you out there like that. You are hard charging. And from the outside looking in, you are impressive by every measure of the word. But internally, that drive, that thing that people see, that thing that people envy, is something that you wear to protect your own insecurities. Because if we flip this coin back to the coin of consistency, where I say we need to make our home base, what you'll find is that for someone like me, consistency isn't hard. It isn't harder than being intense. What's harder is that you have to humble yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to give yourself the permission to take your time. You have to step back from a situation and take advice. You have to actually give others a part of the pie, a part of the thing to juggle. You can't do it all. You can't be a hero. That's the hard part with consistency from a hero's perspective. But there are some of us who may suffer from the opposite. You know, they stay in this place of consistency, never ever really touching the heights of intensity. And that can be just as problematic as well. Because intensity is the only way in which we grow, in which we expand our horizons. You can be consistent every single day. But if nothing is stretching you, pushing you, then you won't grow. You'll stay steady. I can set my watch to what you do. You're consistent, but you won't grow. I grow, but I can't go anywhere with it because I'm not consistent with where I'm applying it. So here's the answer. Here's the relationship I want you to consider. Intensity and consistency are flip sides of the same coin. There's a time for intensity and there's a time for consistency. Consistency is the everyday showing up, right? Every single day, doing the things necessary, checking the box, stepping over the low bar minimums every single day, being consistent. And when you're choosing where you want to be consistent, that means you have to look at the things that matter, the small things that matter. There are very small things that matter, say, for example, in a business that you have to do every single day, certain amount of calls you need to make, certain amount of content you need to put out. In your relationship, certain amount of time you need to spend with your body, certain level of exercise you need to do, right? Consistency. You don't need to be a hero. You just need to do them every single day, like clockwork, right? Developing habits, or more specifically, the routines that turn things into habits. Routines are what consistency is founded on. If you can develop a routine where you show up every single day doing a very simple activity in a routine way, you will build a new habit. And that will allow you to be consistent. You don't have to be a hero. Don't have to think about it. I get up at this time. I do this. Doesn't matter. Rain, sleet, snow. I do it. I'm consistent. And when I've put this into play in my own life, that's when things started to change. These are the things I need to be consistent with every single day, like clockwork. Like clockwork. But for me to do that, I had to give myself the space to say, I value and I love you. I don't have to beat you up and put you into a position where you have to prove yourself and be a hero all the time. There are small things that if you do every single day, you'll be all right. Let's just make sure we're strategic around what we're going to be consistent with and with what. And when I did that, stuff started to change for me in my business. Stuff started to change for me in my relationship with myself. Stuff started to change for me in my body. I pride myself on being an athlete, right? I'm a lifelong athlete, always in shape, always stay in shape, always want to look a certain way, feel a certain way about myself. But that intensity thing also would break me down. I would go roll around in a cage in a ring and spar and have a cracked rib. I'm out for 4 or 5 weeks. I would go out. I haven't ran in a while. I would say, you know what? I'm going to run 10 miles today. Go run 10 miles. Then I'm down for like 2 weeks. Oh, I'm going to go do a Go Ruck Tough event where we're going to put 40 pounds on our back and we're going to do special forces stuff for like 48 hours straight. I would do it and then be broken for a month. That was my cycle. And I was in good shape, but I was always broken. I was always hurt. I was always down and out. As much time as I spent up, I spent down. And that's the cycle of someone who lives in the intensity space. And I always had this goal of wanting to be single digit body fat. And despite all these heroics, I would never quite get there, not even like close. I would be like 17, 18%, killing myself, not getting there. But the crazy thing is, for the last 4 months, you know what I've been doing? This is crazy. Last 4 months, all I've been doing is walking with my wife in the morning and the evening with some workouts, right? Adding walking to the equation. And my workouts, I never go until I'm burnt out and sore. I stop well short of it, right? I'm applying myself in a very strategic way. I know I'll get there. I don't got to beat myself up. I don't have to kill myself. I'm going to walk. And I went and got measured 2 weeks ago, got my bipod. I'm 13.8% body fat, the lowest I've been, or at least I've ever measured in my adult life. And I'm like, wait a minute. All I've been doing is walking. Consistency, right? And that's the power of consistency, the impact of compound interest, adding up over time. But consistency is the place where the professional spends their time because they know that it's going to pay off. That's what consistency is. It is the strategy for those who are professional. The novice, again, only has on, off, and intensity is on, and off is off, down in the pit, broken somewhere. And I know people who are millionaires who sell insurance. And they say, hey, X, listen, most people won't make it in this business because they can't or won't be consistent. I got a certain amount of calls I make every day. I'm done with work around 2 p.m. I do that. I'm done. The first 8 years of that, yeah, you're going to be eating tuna. But then something interesting happens when your book of business starts to grow. You know, one leads to two leads to four leads to eight leads to 16. And before you know it, that residual book of business is paying me in my sleep. Consistency. I make consistency sound like, damn, we all should be consistent. And I do believe that consistency is one of the things that has been missing from my life. And I have to reorient my mind toward it, right? To this day, I am known for, let's go get it. Hold on, dude. Hold on. Don't throw yourself and be a hero. Stop trying to be a martyr and kill yourself. What is it that we're actually trying to do? And how can we create a very smooth, consistent, orderly, professional, strategic roadmap to it? slow down a bit. You got to slow down to speed up. And let's close out with intensity because it's a much easier concept to grapple with. Intensity is where you go when you want to expand and grow and push your horizons, right? It's that place. When you go intense at something, you create a new level of comfort. So I'll put this in the realm of working out, always easy to understand. If you're in the habit of, say, walking every single day, right? I walk, and that's your comfort level, that's your routine, that's your consistency. It works. But let's say you're trying to go to the next level. It's harder to walk yourself into the next level. You have to go more what? Intensely. So what do? You go out and you run instead of walk, but for a very finite strategic portion of, say, your walk period. So you may walk for 8 minutes, run for 2 minutes, walk for 8 minutes, run for 2 minutes. What that running for 2 minutes or having an intense ratio of, say, 4-1, you will then be raising your capacity to walk even faster. So intensity is used to expand your capacity to be more consistent. And that's what, when you look at the principle of better outcomes and success and those who are at the top and those who are performing well in every possible area of life, you will see that relationship. There is a consistency, meaning a comfort zone that people stay in for the most part, and they train in that space. And then there's a portion of the world where there is intensity that expands their horizon, therefore pushing their capacity to be more consistent or more comfortable at a higher level of progression. And usually that ratio is somewhere between 3-1 if you're crazy balls to the wall, and more probably like 8-1. You'll see this with Olympic level athletes, professional athletes. They are intense at that ratio. You see this with great businesswomen, businessmen. You will see that there is a routine consistency to their day, to their schedule, what they do, and then it is capped with these moments of intensity, strategically placed places and spaces to be intense, and then boom, cut, wrap. Let's recover, let's rest, let's recuperate, but we're being consistent somewhere else. You'll see that relationship every single time, but what blinds us to intensity, especially in our culture, is that we put forward the highlight reel. All we see from the outside looking in is the trailer, and the trailer is jam-packed. Look at that. Oh my God, intensity everywhere. That's how they must live. That's what it looks like all day. But that's not the case when you get there and you behind the scenes and you become a professional and you become part of the culture and ethos of it. You will see that's not the case. There is a time of comfort and consistency and rest and recuperation, a place where they're able to do their thing while not being stretched, saving up, gearing up, and then boom, they let it out in a torrent, and that intensity then broadens, right? Stop it, pull it back in. Let's be consistent for a while. And that's the rhythm. That's the rhythm to being really good at what you do. That relationship of consistency to intensity. And that's why I say you need both. Because consistency takes a lot of patience to build and to grow. A lot of patience. And if you stick with it, you'll get there. But if you're intense, you can shorten the curve strategically, right? You plan on places and spaces to be intense. You can make yourself more consistent at a higher level by strategically putting intensity into the mix. And another benefit, and I'll leave you with this, is that when you are intense and you're an adrenaline junkie like me, and you need to feel like you're doing something, it will allow you to get that high. It will allow you to feel that connection to your action, that string that makes you feel like you're doing something, which is important for someone like me. I gotta feel that. So I need to plan strategically a box for me to play hard in, Otherwise, I will just play hard all the time. Be consistent, X. Here's your box to go play. Here's the ring to go jump in. All right. I'm going to work out today. Today, I'm going to go all out. I get to go out. Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, I feel it. Right? In my relationship, all right, we're going to be consistent with this. This is our time to, get busy. Let's do it. Hey, come on. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, let's get it right here. So being strategic with my intensity allows me to peak perform on cue. And that's another thing that a professional or someone who is really good at what they do, they know how to peak their performance. And when they're at their peak, unleash it into their target and their objective. And they understand that about themselves, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, so that they get the best out of themselves. So again, it's about both being consistent and intense. And if you do that, you'll rewrite a new story. And the next chapter will be your best chapter, or at least the best chapter to come, or your best chapter yet. Yeah, that sounds better. I'm out. Hey fam, thanks again for joining me in the yellow chair. I want to invite you to go even deeper, to take this to the next level by pulling out your phone and texting me at 800-425-2095. That's 800-425-2095. That's my direct number. Type in the word yellow chair. And when you text me, you'll be joining my X Factor weekly insider community, where I send out resources to help you to continue to storify your life and to lead your story. So don't miss that opportunity. 800-425-2095. Thanks again for joining me here in the yellow chair. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share these podcasts. We're trying to change 100 million people's lives, and you're a part of that. So thank you again, and I see you in the next yellow chair. I'm out.